solve it. Yeah, so that's the goal.
Here's the other thing that drives me crazy.
Adopted. The only trigger in it was if a property was in the Mountain Village zoning district, they would have to go through the conditional zoning process. This amendment this amendment adds to that trigger and adds major developments as a trigger to that process. And major developments are defined as
20 or more.
residential development or common plan of development containing 20 or more dwelling units, or a commercial or industrial development or common plan of development containing more than 30,000 square feet of interior floor space. So if somebody comes in and they have a development that meets these definitions, they will have to follow the conditional zoning process, along with any development that's in the Mountain Village district. Any questions about that?
Well, I am curious, this concept, is this something also that exists in our neighboring jurisdictions? I mean, do they all have conditional districts? And are you basically again following you're drawing a lot of this from their plans?
I wrote this section of the ordinance back when I was doing the 160D changes. So it's based on information from the UNC School of Government and other jurisdictions within the state, not necessarily neighboring jurisdictions, although Asheville does have conditional
Yes.
districts and they have a similar trigger.
Okay.
So
And well, I'll let you, it's pretty specific. I think it's a good idea. I mean, it does allow you to ask a lot more questions of a large development than just the basic policy does. So,
well, and the procedures there, and it's a lot more clear for staff and the board, but also the developer. So
right.
they know what it is they need to present to the town. for
And
doing
traffic is
approval.
always one of the biggies, and
Right.
that would be part of this. So I don't think I had any questions. So someone would come forward, just using, I guess, the terraces as an example, they would come forward and they would be told immediately that they had to come up with all of these additional things in order to even come before the planning board, basically.
Right.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions? Dylan?
I'm good.
I know this is kind of off the, but since you put me through some of that training, there was an emphasis at some point that the ability to control infrastructure like your water and sewer and that, gave you a lot of help in some of these zoning issues. Do we have any kind of ongoing communication with them? I know it's a separate board. I know it doesn't even include a lot of Woodfin, including my neighborhood. I mean, do they ever cooperate with us if it's a zoning issue?
Are you talking about MSD and Woodfin Water?
I'm talking about the Woodfin water and sewer. I don't
have any direct relationship with them, but the developers do. It seems to be working okay. I don't
Good
have-
luck.
It does, huh?
I speak from experience.
What's your experience?
We'll leave it at that.
I'm
We'll
sorry.
leave it at that. It doesn't, it's not the right time for
Oh,
that.
okay.
Nothing, it's got nothing to do with the town, so. MSD is good, so.
I've got a lot to learn on this. I don't,
What, Director Eisenhower, what would, I know we're in discussion. What is your ideal outcome from us reviewing this with you right now?
Recommending approval to the Board of Commissioners who will hear it.
I'd be ready to recommend if you guys are,
There's another statement, written statement, if you want to go that route.
are
Do
you
you-
ready for a motion?
Have we
I'm good with
concluded
that.
discussion? Or
Well,
do you have any other thoughts or comments, or same with member Deacon?
no,
Okay, then would anyone like to read the motion?
Jeff, you want to do it or you want?
You can do it this
We
time.
just did the last one.
Okay. Let me see, I want to make sure I'm on the right one. Yes, okay. I move, having reviewed the text amendments of the Town of Woodfin zoning ordinance for amendments to section 54 to 156 conditional districts, and having considered information from the planning staff of the Town of Woodfin and comments from other persons pursuant to 160D-604D, the Town of Woodfin Planning Board hereby adopts on the following motions effective February 1st, 2022. Motion to adopt the following resolution: resolved that the Town of Woodfin Planning Board finds the proposed text amendment is consistent with the Town of Woodfin Comprehensive Plan. The following reasons and other matters were considered in the deliberations of the Town of Woodfin Planning Board with respect to this motion. The proposed text amendment is reasonable considering the potential benefits to the development of the Town of Woodfin and surrounding community, and the proposed text amendment advances the public health, safety, and welfare of the Town of Woodfin, and the proposed text amendment is consistent with the following section of the comprehensive plan. Section A, land use, goal 2, improve overall quality of both existing and new development with the emphasis on infrastructure readily and reality and future needs. Section A, land use objective 4, promote environmentally responsible and sustainable development. Motion to adopt the following resolution.
That's it.
Oh, no,
Oh.
that's, it's just, yeah.
I've gone far enough.
So, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Great. All in favor? Aye.
Dylan Deckent, aye.
Okay.
Okay, motion passes with 4-4 or 4-0. I hope you guys don't mind, but there may be a lot of laughing involved with me in the room.
I like it.
Okay, good. All right. All right, good. Look at here, guys. Look at where we are. Numero 6, major subdivision preliminary plat. So would you like me to read this, Director
No.
Eisenhower?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll summarize.
thank you.
And then the applicant's on Zoom, so somebody from that group's on Zoom.
Yeah,
and they'll
great.
explain it.
Thank you.
So this is a preliminary plat for Goodman Road and Riverside Drive. You have a master plan, a copy of the master plan in your packet, but this is phase 1 of that master plan. They're asking for 37 lots on 6.37 acres for 3 different size lots. 2.64 units per acre is what it amounts to. The property's on Mountain Village. And that along with the site plan, they've submitted a grading plan and a water and sewer plan. So like I said, they are on Zoom and I'll let them explain the details and answer any questions you might have on that. So is
Hi,
someone
everybody.
here?
Yeah, I'll let Jason go ahead. Jason is our landscape architect and land
Can't hear
planner.
you.
You can't hear me?
Well, it's not clear. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Let me try to turn my volume up. Let's see here.
Uh-huh.
Jason, go ahead there if you would, and I'll try to fix my volume.
Sure.
Is
Can
Jason, your
everybody
lawyer?
hear me?
I think we just need you to speak up. I think the volume issues on our end, so just speak up and speak clearly. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. How about now?
It's not.
I'd say
Can you speak
keep
up?
speaking, and if you can make sure you're projecting or maybe get the mic closer to you, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
That's good.
Yeah, that helps. Thank you. Administrative powers.
If you guys would bear with me, I'm gonna get on another device and I think it will improve the volume.
That, could you hear him? I could. I thought that was
Yeah,
acceptable.
that was pretty good. Excuse me.
Jason, I'm sorry I would call you by your last name, but we can hear you better now. So,
You can still hear me? Okay.
Yes.
yes.
I'll, unless you interrupt, and then I have another device that may improve the sound quality. There was a previous master plan approved for this development a few years ago. We have revised that plan to decrease the density overall for a three-phase development to be less than 2 units per acre. Phase 1 for this development encompasses 37 lots on 18 acres. We've provided grading and erosion control plans for roadway development. 37 lots included in this first phase, and stormwater management plans have been developed but not yet submitted to Buncombe County. Phase 2 would be 73 lots on 32 acres, and phase 2 would be 73 lots on 32 acres, and phase 3 would be 66 lots on 35 acres. But this application is just currently to update the master plan and apply for the 37 units on the 18 acres for phase 1. The originally approved master plan, there was a traffic impact.
We can't hear you. You've,
How
If you
about
would
now?
pause for just a second, they're clearing up audio on our side. Thank you. Okay, Jason, will you speak and let's see if we can hear you?
Yeah. How about
Perfect.
now?
Thank you.
Okay. Where did you lose me?
Last thing we heard was the phase 1 on 18 acres. We've heard you go through all the phases. And so
Okay.
I think you're starting at what's next.
Okay. So in addition to the master plan and this phase 1 development, some background data and information. There was a wetland and stream delineation completed by Clearwater Environmental. There will not be any impacts to streams and wetlands in phase 1. There was a traffic impact analysis completed with a final decision by NCDOT in November of 2019. That was for 318 units. That analysis was done for 318 units. We have decreased those units, and we would be happy to provide you that TIA. We know it needs updated based on this revised and lower density. But since there was a final decision on 318, we don't see that as being a hurdle by any means. The access points and locations for the The updated master plan and phase one development have been revised per NCDOT's recommendations in terms of horizontal and vertical site distance. And like I said, stormwater's been designed. It's we're prepared to submit that to Buncombe County to meet all their stormwater regulations for this now low density, comprehensive low density development. Oh, and I guess I am Jason Gilland with Site Design Studio. We are a landscape architecture and planning firm representing the team. We have Brooks Engineering as the civil engineer for grading and erosion control, stormwater, water and sewer plans. We have traffic planning and design for the traffic analysis, and again, Clearwater Environmental for the wetlands and stream delineation and any permits that we may need in the future. But again, phase one will not be impacting that.
Is it time for questions?
No, so this is a public hearing. So at this time, you'll need to open the public hearing and hear from the public regarding this proposal. and
Before
then-
discussion, okay.
And then we can ask questions after you close that public hearing. To
Okay.
start off the public hearing, Penny will read a couple written comments we received from some neighbors, and then you can open it up to anybody that's on Zoom.
Okay, that's great. So their presentation is over. I was just hearing from the one.
It is for now, and then we'll open the
Okay.
public hearing, close the public hearing. If you have more questions for them, you can ask them then.
Okay, thank you everyone for bearing with me. So I'm now going to ask, I don't know your last name. Sam's to read the public comments. Thank you. Yes, sorry. I don't have a watch. What time is it? Oh, 7:14. I can see that. At 7:14 PM, I now open the public hearing.
Okay, this email is from Sue Levin.
Could you speak into the mic a little more?
Might be my mask. This email is from Sue Levin. It says, I've done some research regarding home development and the impact on our environment and property. I'm a resident of Goodman Road, and I'm concerned about how the property development will impact our wildlife, environment, safety, quality of water, school systems, and our overall ecosystem. Below are some questions and concerns that I feel need to be addressed. What schools will be impacted by the development? Will this cause overcrowding in particular schools? What about the staffing issues at our schools currently? Teachers are already the most underpaid in the nation. Will crosswalks and sidewalks be safe for children? Can a school bus enter and exit the development? Will this development create additional noise or light pollution? Is there a landscape plan for included? Will there be streetscapes or screening vegetation issues used? Has a tree study been done? Are there any specimen trees on the property? Are you going to save, relocate, or replace them? How are you containing your water? Underground detention pond, retention pond. How much in previous service will be there? What will impact stormwater runoff have? Are there any protected streams or rivers nearby? Has a hydrology study been done? How has traffic study been done? How much interest traffic do you expect? Will improvements be made to intersections or road signals? Can a fire truck or school bus turn around? Has there been any environmental impact report completed? Along with questions regarding access roads, its numbers of in and out roads along Riverside and the commitment of no access road of Goodman. I do understand how housing development can positively impact our town and the city of Asheville with all the housing issues, making our area more desirable, increase revenue for the city, and draw new businesses to the area. But I also have many concerns, especially the impact to already overcrowded and unfunded schools and impact on safety, traffic, police presence, and crime. Thank you for your attention. I have one more. This is from Miss Michelle Sider. I think that's how you say her name. Okay, I would like to thank you and your colleagues for speaking with me earlier today about our zoning concerns for 999 Goodman Road subdivision. I appreciate you sharing our concerns with the committee. We will not be able to attend the Zoom meeting tomorrow evening. We share numerous concerns with our Goodman Road neighbors and over the proposed subdivision, including an increased traffic to Riverside Drive, safety to Woodfin citizens, land erosion, disruption of the current ecosystem. I believe each of these are concerned and interest of their town as they include the town development survey that we completed last month. Here I will cover two of these concerns, traffic and the ecosystem. We understand that North Carolina DOT completed a traffic study. When will these details be shared? As a current citizens of the town, we already have concerns regarding the traffic that exists on Riverside Drive, as well as the unsafe speeds many drivers used to travel on Riverside. Drivers frequently travel at unsafe speeds around the curve where Goodman and Riverside merge. In addition, the volume of traffic increases on Riverside whenever there is a traffic accident on 26. We are aware of the increase because we have to wait for long lines of cars to pass before we can safely turn left for Goodman onto Riverside. As a traffic lighted plan for the intersection of Riverside and Goodman if the subdivision moves forward. The addition of homes planned for the subdivision, be it 30 or 300, will only add to the volume of vehicles traveling on Riverside Drive and a greater potential for auto accidents due to more speeding and reckless drivers. We're completely opposed to ingress or egress to any part of phrase of the subdivision via Goodman Road, including ingress and egress for construction vehicles. As you all know, the ecosystem in Woodfin is vast and beautiful. The nature that surrounds us leaves us breathless and in awe at a daily basis. The creatures we enjoy run in our yard include deer, wild turkeys, black bears, and on a couple of occasions, coyotes and bobcats. In the sky we hear bald eagles, hawks, owls, carnivals, blue jays, two varieties of woodpeckers, and so on. We expect this subdivision developer and the town have in place a plan to keep all the creatures of the land, sky, and river safe and undisturbed, as we would like to know the details of this plan.
Director Eisenhower, you instructed me to then open it up to comment on Zoom, correct? Clerk Vincent, are you managing? Okay.
Tell them to raise their hand and Zoom.
Okay.
That note.
Okay, so we'll now open up to public comment on Zoom. If you would raise your hand, and actually the hand feature in Zoom, then Clerk Vincent will see to it that you have the 3 minutes for comment. There we go. Mr. Averett. We see Mr. Averett.
You got me now?
You're unmuted, yes.
Okay, there might be a cat or kid running in here at any point. But that's the nature of these days. I also live on Goodman Road, and I mean I'm gonna shamelessly drop the NIMBY card. I'm biased. I know that to assume that the land across the street is not going to get developed is really naive and unrealistic. But I do think that Mountain Village does not have a place on the Riverside corridor. I think Mountain Village is appropriate. We do need affordable housing in Woodfin. There are more people moving to Woodfin, and I feel like that's more appropriate where there is greater traffic access, and where it's not going to be as impactful as the Riverside corridor. That's all. I also another thing. I also have concerns about the sewage containment system that's down on Riverside and what kind of impact that's going to have.
Jason, do you want to answer that, or do you want me to answer that?
No replies are required at this point. We're
Oh,
just,
okay.
we're just listening to public comment and then we'll come back around to
I
the
got you.
developer shortly.
Okay.
Okay, any other public comments? Will you lower your hand, Mr. Averett?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, I'm
Thank
kind of
you.
new to Zoom. Lower hand. Got it.
And for those of you, if you've just come back from serving dinner or forgot what I said, if you have a public comment, now's the time. Please use the raise your hand function. If you are challenged online, just raise your hand and we'll look for you. Or type me. Okay. JDEBARDI, DeBardi. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say. I'm interested to hear more about this. I assume that like Goodman Road won't be connected to this, like via a road. So I guess I just want to be clear about that. But yeah, excited to hear more.
Yes, I apologize. I know better. Will you state your full name for the record?
Jim DeBardi.
Thank you. Does that conclude your public comment, Mr. DeBardi?
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Again, if you don't know how to use the feature, do the dance, jump up and down, raise your hand. Hey, ho, whatever you got to do. Okay. Well, I'm going to close public comments at 7:24 p.m. And that's what I was thinking, but I just checking in. My first time. All right, let's do it. Okay, so back to the development team. Who's up next?
Do they have the questions that were asked on these? Did they get copies of these? No. Okay.
No.
Ms. Carroll, are you up next?
I don't know where to start. I remember John Averett's concerns about Mountain Village. Even though we do have Mountain Village zoning, we are coming in under 2 units per acre for our overall community. So we really are considered a low density development. Is that your understanding, Jason?
It is, yes.
So we are actually lower than the normal residential community. So we're nowhere near the Mountain Village zoning requirements. Yeah. And I don't remember the other questions, so maybe someone could throw those in there and we could answer those.
I mean, if acceptable by the board, we could go through them one by one and respond. I mean, it was quite a list there that she shared. So if you would like to repeat something, then we'd be happy to respond for the record.
Is it our turn to ask questions?
It's not our turn yet. I was thinking that there'd be a little bit more thorough presentation, but Director Eisenhower advised me.
Now would be a good time for you to ask questions if you have specific questions that you would like them to address. Now would be
Okay.
a good time to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, it feels a little short and empty to me. So, okay, let's dig in. Come on, team, let's go.
All right. I wanted to ask about the traffic study that you said was done in 2019 for 318 units. So what was the conclusion? You didn't say what it demonstrated.
Yeah, there was an approval and a final decision made by NCDOT for the 318 units. What I think is a little confusing here is there was a master plan approval in 2016 or 17 for this development. a density that was in excess than what we are proposing for an amended master plan and phase one. So we have an approved master plan for this parcel to develop more density than what we're proposing in our revised master plan. And so the master plan has been revised and we are applying for construction of phase one.
Of 37 units. Can you tell
Of
me what the
30.
price points are for those units?
To
What do you
sorry,
intend
what?
to sell them for?
Price points. The price point will be anywhere from 350 to 600.
I'm sorry, I heard the 350. I didn't hear the other end.
350 to 600.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that the board has seen the master plan and phase one development plans.
Well, we
Or
have
am
some
I-
maps.
Am I mistaken?
You're holding them up. Is this what you're talking about? She's holding.
Yeah, let me just comment real quick. I'm not sure, who are we speaking with here? Which
Oh.
person on the screen are we talking to? I'm not sure.
Say that again, please. Okay.
Who is the person we're speaking with on the screen? I'm not sure who I'm talking to.
Member Overbeck,
Oh, okay.
you're speaking with Member Overbeck.
Okay, member Overbeck. I think part of the problem is, we're on a Zoom call, so it's
Yeah.
hard for us to show a proper presentation, when we're all on a Zoom call. I guess that, from my perspective, that may be part of the problem and maybe why, you feel that we don't have enough information available, but we have submitted all of this to Adrian and to the township. So I think you should all have it available. Is that correct, Adrian? I mean, the traffic study's been submitted. All of these
I don't think
points
there's
we're
any traffic
speaking
study.
of have all been submitted to the township.
I don't recall seeing the traffic study, but they did get the preliminary plat and the master plan.
And does everyone there have a copy of that, or?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
So Ms. Carroll, this is Member Hunter.
Okay.
We have the materials that we need to see as we're reviewing this. I think my primary question, and I'm not new, I'm new to this body, but I'm not new to this work, is it's a little generally empty. And I recognize that you and your team have been working on this for many years. And so the assumption is that everyone should have it, but I'm not sure you're aware this is actually a new body. So we want to be sure that we are equipped to not just do our job and represent the interest of the public and the town, but we actually want to do right by you. And so for me, I just would appreciate, as much as you have many years and many months in this, some latitude to understanding the formation of this body and that it is brand new. So if you would take a step back and actually just talk to us like we don't know a little bit, because as a body, we have to do what's right by the ordinances, then we actually are all on the same page to actually support your aim and your end. But I want to take a step back and go there, because I'm not sure you're aware that we're brand new together. So let's do this a different way. Thank you.
Thank you.
So out of a question I have is, what percentage of acreage is disturbed that's in compliance? I know that it's less than, we're not talking about steep slope here, but we did bring up some things that I think would be worth talking in the context of all the things we've said. So the percentage of acreage that's going to be disturbed as it relates to, I think you mentioned Mr. Gosh, I don't know. I don't think I wrote your name down
It's
fast
18
enough.
acres, 37 lots are what they're asking for.
And 6.37, did you say, Director Eisenhower? 18 total. Okay.
37 lots.
And this is considered one parcel, correct? Based on the lot, the not number I saw. Okay, thank you.
Um, I know you're not asking about this today, but it would be good to have an idea of the future expansion efforts. Because I know some are called cottages and, could you talk a little more about how the whole thing is planned and what the price points of those are also?
Do you want me to answer, Jason, or do you want to answer that?
Sure. Well, so I can, since we haven't developed all phases of this development as it relates to the first phase, 18, a little over 18 acres,
Right.
comprising of 37 units. The disturbance acreage in that first phase is 6.3 acres. So approximately 30% disturbance in phase one. Comprehensively on all the phases, that percentage will decrease. It's dense in the first phase as it relates to the overall 89.7 acres. We have 3 different lot typologies. I think we have a 60-foot width lot, an 80-foot width lot, and a 100-foot width lot. And the narrower lots are on a ridge portion, not in phase one. They're part of phase two, where we're taking advantage of the decrease in natural percent slope and adding some density along that ridge portion. But initially, we're building this main thoroughfare that would then connect additional phases and putting houses off of that main thoroughfare.
Thank you. Is the county requiring you to do a comprehensive stormwater plan or just break it down by each phase?
It's basically self-contained per phase. So
Okay.
that based on the phases of development, they require the submission of the stormwater plans as it relates to that particular portion of the development.
How far along in those plans are you? And is that something, that I don't know if we can get it on the screen or, any of that would be great.
Yeah, so we had a 16-page document that was submitted as part of, or what we thought was submitted as part of this, showing the comprehensive 176 unit master plan and phase one specifically. And it includes the extension of domestic water and sewer, MSD sewer, as well as those preliminary stormwater plans.
Yeah, so I see the sewage lift station in the plan. And I see the stormwater basins. And
Yes.
is that, go ahead.
Those stormwater plans are, I would say, 90% developed, and with your approval, we would be prepared to go to Buncombe County in very short order for that submission.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. Jason, this is Luke Williams. Question about the dedication. Is your intent to have any of these streets dedicated to the town?
We, as a team, we have not posed that question or answered that question yet. I will say we're designing to town and Buncombe County standards, and for phase one, our roads are 15% grade, with the exception of there's a 300-foot distance that increases to 18%, but otherwise it's at 15% or less. And all future phases, the max percent grade is 17.5 or less.
Perfect. Thank you.
So we could have that discussion on dedication or not, but we internally have not had that discussion yet.
So I'm noticing in this phase one that there's commercial development as well. Am I seeing this correctly? Or is this phase two?
We
Phase
don't
two,
have any,
okay,
we don't have any commercial development.
okay, thank you.
This is 100% residential and amenities associated with residential use.
Question of curiosity, do you already know which materials you're using for the residential development,
In terms of building materials,
building materials?
no, at this point, we're talking about basically horizontal construction, site development, not architecture.
Okay, thanks.
Some of the points mentioned, if we're not going to go through point by point the public comment, with respect to Goodman Road, I know previous master plans showed 3 points of ingress egress to this property. We have eliminated one of them, the closest one to Goodman Road. In no way, shape, or form does this development use Goodman Road to access the development. And I'll reiterate that those 2 points of ingress egress for this development were revised per the direction of NCDOT due to horizontal vertical curve site distance along Riverside. Also, again, happy to share this final decision TIA for 318 units. Again, we have decreased it to 179 and I have a summary document from our traffic engineer based on what was approved by DOT. Our weekday total trips, by reducing it from 318 to 179, there would be 1,303 fewer trips per weekday, 95 fewer peak trips in the morning, and 127 fewer peak trips in the evening. Significant decrease.
Should we maybe read those questions?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, I'm going to give you some of the questions that were asked by the public comment section. Have you considered anything as far as impact on schools?
I mean, we're providing housing, yes. There's going to be families moving into this development and attending Woodfin schools.
Will a bus be able to enter and exit the development without difficulty?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a landscape plan included in?
If there is one required, then we will provide that. But at this point in time,
It's not required, is it, Adrian? What? No, not required. Has a tree study been done?
no, but we do not believe there's any signature trees on the property.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there isn't. I live fairly close, so. Underground detention pond, retention pond. I don't even know what all this means, but.
We have, there is a stormwater detention plan prepared.
Okay,
In phase one, there's 3 dry ponds and 2 storm tech underground chambers as part of
Okay.
that plan.
has a hydrology study been done?
I mean, that is performed as part of our stormwater management plan.
Okay. I didn't read all of them, but.
Well, okay, you're doing great. I'll take over.
I do think, Adrian and Sherry, that Riverside Drive is a problem traffic wise. I realize DOT never says that it is, but Riverwalk appears at these meetings constantly because they can't even get out. So I don't know what we can do because it's not our road, but I do think we could advocate a lot more for better lights. I mean, they just do not pay attention to that road at all. And every neighborhood off it complains. Sorry, that's not your problem. That's broader than your problem.
Member Angel, do you have any questions or comments?
Just a couple. Where do you, which system do you plan to get your water off of?
If I'm not mistaken, it's Town of Woodfin.
Okay. Also, is any of the residents, will they be sprinkled or no sprinkled?
No sprinkles.
Okay, thank you.
And if we haven't already, I will pose the question to the civil engineer and get allocation letters from both MSD and Town of Woodfin Water. But I believe those were acquired already because these water and sewer plans have been developed pretty completely.
You didn't comment on the price point of the future developments. You know, we have a lot of high-end developments coming in front of us all the time. And although yours may not start at the highest level of development, are the other phases more affordable than this one?
No, I wouldn't say they're more affordable. They will be in line with this one. The overall community will be in line price point. It's not our intent to do a high-end community here. And I'm not sure
Can
what.
you say that last comment again? You're not coming through completely clearly.
I'm sorry. It's not our intent to make this a high-end community. And once again, high-end community can be interpreted in many different ways. I'm not sure what your interpretation of high-end is, but you know, our ultimate goal is to build something that is affordable for the average resident. You know, we're up against building costs
Do you
like
see
everyone
yourself
else.
selling to a lot of investors who will just turn around and rent?
That's not our goal, just to just sell to investors, no.
Director Eisenhower, I need some guidance in that, since this is my first planning and zoning meeting. For me, I'm used to other steps in different places. So help guide me as to like, are we, obviously it meets the Mountain Village criteria. How many materials are we supposed to review that allow this to pass through? Like, is it it's just what's listed in the packet? So, and do we have to have them in hand?
You're reviewing a preliminary plat and
Uh-huh.
the subdivision ordinance requirements.
Okay.
And so, yes, they have to meet the Mountain Village. But the plat that was in your packet is
Yep.
what they've submitted for approval.
Yeah.
And it provides information it needs to based on our zoning or our subdivision ordinance.
Yeah.
So that's all you need for this approval.
Yeah, and so some of the other things like traffic study, although those pieces are required for the size of this development, those documents don't have to be completed and brought before us.
This is a different process, so this
Okay.
process does not require those documents.
Great, that's what I needed was some guidance. Thank you.
But isn't this just advising, forwarding on to the Board of Commissioners?
Right.
So they have
Yeah.
the final say.
Yep.
We don't.
No, I just, again, my very first meeting here, so I want to make sure I know that I have reviewed everything. Mhm.
Yes, that's good.
Thank you. So is there any more discussion, member DeCant?
I have one other question. I think I heard you say in this phase that there is a somewhat of a slope. Did I misunderstand that? Or is this the, I have walked in your area before, so I do know a little about it, but that where this is being developed, is there pretty significant slope involved?
I mean, not that I'm aware of, the road grade, I mentioned that it was at 18% max,
Yeah,
but I
that's
think we're in the 25 to 30% slope range in the
okay.
location of phase one.
Okay.
And let me just comment on that as well. You know, we've looked at this land from all different directions. We've looked at it from apartments to townhomes to much smaller homes and probably have 6 or 7 different master plans. And at the end of the day, we all landed on the most thoughtful plan that we really could that allows us to make a profit, but not rape the land. I mean, the plan that Jason and John Kennard, that they have designed for this property runs with the terrain. It flows exactly how it should without having to come in and do mass grading. We're under 2 units an acre. This is a very thoughtful development. I just think that, you know, we should be welcomed with open arms for coming to in front of you with this type of a project, you know, and I understand that development, you know, is sort of frowned upon, whatever we want to say, but this is a very thoughtful development.
I just wish you could take those 2 houses that have been sitting there empty for so many years and make it part of your development.
Well, that's not on our lands, you know, we don't have any vacant houses on our land, so you know, we have no vacant houses, and we're really just, our intent is to do a thoughtful development and something that the community desires and wants. And I think that these guys have nailed it. I think Jason and John Kennard should be applauded for what they've done here. It's really a remarkable, very thoughtful master plan. And you know, if anyone begs to differ, I'll be glad to have that discussion with you, but they've done a fine job.
So before we take a vote or make a motion, Member DeCant, I just wanted to make sure that you were heard if you wanted to include any discussion.
Sure. You've been saying my name so good all night until just now, but I'm joking. One question I do
Second,
have, and
sorry.
Adrian, going back to you with the traffic study, you know, I understand that there was a study done for 300 some odd units. Now we're talking significantly less, but that was years ago. Times have changed in Woodfin, along the river especially. Is it not required? Go ahead.
It wasn't years ago. It was literally like a year ago that we had this completed, maybe a year, a little over a year. Yeah.
I thought it was 2019.
Well, I don't know about that. I think we're just out of a year. I think it was good for 12 months and I think we're just out of a year, but anyway.
No, I heard 2019 in the presentation.
Yeah, okay.
That's 3 years.
There was a final decision made November 20th, 2019. So just over 2 years ago.
Okay.
And we understand that we'll have to go in for a revision to that based on the new plan.
Right.
Okay, so Member Deckant, was your question asked and answered? Do you have any more? Really want to hear your voice in this?
Adrian, a little bit more guidance from you on this as well. The stormwater, which has not been stormwater management plan, which has not been submitted to Buncombe County yet, is that pretty typical that a plan like that would not be submitted before it comes to the board?
Yes, and I can assure you that they will not get a permit from Buncombe County, which was required unless they submit a very detailed plan. So that, I can assure you that will take place.
Sure, I don't doubt that. Okay, questions answered.
Okay. Thank you everyone, to the public, to city staff or town staff and the members. I think we're closing discussion at 7:52 PM. And at this point, does anyone choose to make a motion?
I think it's Dylan's time.
Right? And I didn't see anything written up here, Director Eisenhower. So to the best of your ability, does anyone want to make a motion to pass this body of work? Mhm.
You would be making a motion to recommend approval or denial to the Board of Commissioners
Mhm.
I'll make that motion
for approval.
for approval to the commissioners.
Anyone want a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. What say you, Dylan?
Dylan Decken says aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0. Yes. I did it this time. We'd like to, the members of Planning and Zoning Board would like to thank the developers for meeting really an intelligent design plan to reduce the density. Of course, you have additional uphill battles, I'm sure, with making sure neighbors and community members at large understand the integrity of the project. At the same time, we wish you good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
We
very much.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm yours. Yes.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I don't know if
Warren,
we have
you
to
went out
make a
of meeting.
motion, but all right. Do you want, I don't think you have to make a motion. Yes, you do?
You have to second
Okay.
it, Yeah.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
If you don't, you can sit here.